Hey everybody, welcome to Tunisia. We are in Sidi Bou in Tunis, Tunisia. Let's go. Tunisia is a beautiful country in northern Africa. Over the years, it has had its share of negative press, but what I experienced was a country with deep history, delicious food, and kind and generous people. Under the Almohads and the Hafsids from the 12th to the 16th century, Tunis was considered one of the greatest and wealthiest cities in the Islamic world. So we're all standing in line. They took us away from the airport, so we have to have a COVID test taken before we go into immigration. It's one of the rapid tests. Everybody has to do it, and it's a long line.
طلعك على اوتيل سيدي بوسعيد
I'm in the taxi going to my Airbnb, and we're lost. Good thing the owner of the Airbnb met my taxi and escorted us to the apartment in Sidi Bou. It's around 8 p.m. and I'm walking around to find something to eat in the rain. After a few minutes, I found a cool place open for a quick sandwich, and then it was time to go to the famous benet place where they make these fresh and hot. They are so good. Next morning, I woke up early and walked around my Airbnb. It was quiet and peaceful with gorgeous cobblestone streets, orange trees everywhere, and this fantastic sunrise over Sidi Bou. Some call this area the French Riviera of North Africa. One of the first things you notice here are the artistic doors that seem to say something special about that building. Some of them were made of iron, some of wood, handmade, and absolutely beautiful. After watching the sunrise, I walked to have coffee at Café de Nats, which was just 2 minutes from my Airbnb. The coffee was average at best, but the ambiance was beautiful. I'm here during COVID, and it's wintertime, where there are less people, but you can imagine the socializing that has happened over the decades. After getting a feel of Sidi Bou, the next day I headed over to the Old Town Medina, which is about 20 minutes by taxi, to meet my friend and Instagram blogger Jamil. His family has been at the Medina for generations, and he has helped to create a QR archive system around the Medina to protect and promote the history of this incredible place. So many beautiful jewels you would never know about just walking around, but now with the QR system, you can use your phone and instantly know the history of the location. The Medina of Tunis is one of the first Arab Muslim towns of the Maghreb. Capital of several universally influential dynasties, it represents a human settlement that bears witness to the interaction between architecture, urbanism, and the effects of social, cultural, and economic changes of earlier cultures. A beautiful day at the Medina with the rainbow sighting on my way back to my apartment. In the evening, I had dinner with my friend Ahmed, an architect and Instagram influencer. We had a great meal and walked to see the ocean lit up at night. The next day, I headed to Carthage, a seaside suburb known for its ancient archaeological sites. It was founded in 1814 BC by the seafaring Phoenicians from their base in Tyre, across the sea in present-day Lebanon, and became a highly prosperous Phoenician port city. The Phoenicians ruled the sea from their strategic port at Carthage for almost 800 years, but after many epic battles, the city was taken by the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar in 44 BC and leveled. By 29 BC, it became a Roman capital, and within 200 years had grown to become the third largest imperial city after Rome and Alexandria. After the fall of the Roman Empire, Carthage became the capital of the Vandals and Byzantines before slipping into obscurity after the Arab conquest. Hey guys, I am here at the bathhouses that the Romans left behind in Tunisia. It's supposed to be a really supposed to be a beautiful place, but I will tell you, this UNESCO site is probably one of the worst I've ever been to. There's like no signs anywhere. It's not well maintained, and you're kind of on your own. It's during COVID, I'm like the only one here. The views are breathtaking. You're right on the ocean, but I think we're supposed to reach like the best part of it in a second, so we'll check that out. All right, the bathhouses were pretty cool. I would have loved to have been around in those days to experience that. Wow. Okay, off to the next stop. Hey, what's up everybody? It's super windy out here. We are in the town of Sousse in Tunisia. Look at the gorgeous ocean behind me. Those colors in the sky are amazing. After a 2-hour drive from Tunis, I arrived at this popular tourist area. The security at my hotel was pretty tight when I arrived. I could see many resorts shut down near my hotel or abandoned as well. And then I remembered why. In 2015, there was an unfortunate incident where 38 people were killed by a gunman disguised as a tourist on the beach. 30 of them being British at a resort just 10 kilometers north of Sousse. This attack halted the tourism business by 50% in 2016, and only now is it slowly growing back, but with a lot of security. Sousse was a layover for me to travel to the Sahara Desert. I encourage you to come visit Sousse when you visit Tunisia. The beachfront is really, really beautiful and peaceful, and probably safer than most places now with its beefed up security. And it is almost 8 o'clock in the morning. We spent the day yesterday in Sousse, and today we are off to the desert, the Sahara Desert. Decided to spend 3 days there. Should take about 6 hours driving to get there. There isn't any easy way right now during COVID. You can take a shared minivan with 7 other people. That stops a lot. And or there's sometimes a train that goes down there, but it's unpredictable right now. So the best way was to just get a driver and a car and get myself down there. We made a pit stop along the way to the holy town of Kairouan to visit the Great Mosque, which is regarded as a significant monument to Islam, as well as a masterpiece of both architecture and Islamic art. The magnificent structure, the oldest Muslim place of worship in Africa, illustrates the mixed influence of pre-Islamic, Roman, and Byzantine architecture. Built in 670 CE, the year 50 according to the Islamic calendar, the mosque is spread over a surface area of 9,000 square meters and is considered as a model for all mosques in the Western Islamic world. For centuries, the Great Mosque of Kairouan has served as a pilgrimage destination for North Africans not able to make the long trip to Mecca. According to popular belief, 7 trips to Kairouan was worth 1 Hajj to Mecca. The 400 pillars in the courtyard that hold up the mosque are taken from Roman sites across Tunisia, like Carthage. The interior prayer hall has beautiful antique chandeliers, marble, and handmade carpets to pray on. This was an incredible experience for me to see this breathtaking mosque. Let's get on the road again. As we make our way closer to the town of Tozeur, We are pulled over at a checkpoint. Now, we were pulled over a few times on our way, but this time it was for a while.
يخلط التوزر يخلط التوزر فهمتني ولا مش تفرحوا بيها؟ لا مريقل لا يمشي لبعيد هو يقعد نقص وقف شنو؟
Yeah, don't stay at this place. It was awful.
It is a gorgeous day here in the desert. We are in the Sahara Desert in Tunisia. We're starting the day. We've got a lot jam-packed, and I'm really excited to experience all of this here.
We first went to the historical village of Chebika. It was once a Roman outpost but later became a mountain refuge for the Berber people. Only several hundred people live in this village today.
Check this out. We are so close to the Algeria border. Actually, if you look right behind me, right there, right behind me, not too far, you can cross the border.
We trekked up a rocky path that leads to the ruins of the old city, walked through it, and then looked out at the magnificent view of the lower Atlas Mountains, forming a canyon of 150 meters high with thousands of palm trees at the bottom. Then, we went down rock stairs to a beautiful canyon that led to a path to a small waterfall that feeds a spring.
So we arrived at the beautiful cascade here. It's just gorgeous, glowing, clear water.
Then on the road again to visit the location where scenes from The English Patient were shot. Quite an impressive canyon. This might look familiar to many. These are the salt flats where some scenes from the Star Wars franchise were shot, along with this iconic view of Camel Head Rock where we tasted bread made in the sand. For our final spot for the day before heading to see the sunset, we visited some of the sets where the Star Wars franchise were filmed. Many of the original sets used to film Star Wars are in Tunisia. As you can imagine, the majority of the desert scenes in the original Star Wars were filmed near Tozeur, with subsequent films in the series also returning to shoot footage. Filming for the original Star Wars film first began in March of 1976. Star Wars creator George Lucas had originally planned for Tatooine to be a jungle planet, and locations had been scouted in the Philippines, but it was later decided that Luke Skywalker's home would be a desert-filled world. Only the first stories of buildings were constructed for the prequels, leaving computer-generated imagery to design the rest. The crew of the prequel trilogy spent close to 5 months at the location, forging the now well-beaten road to the Nefta-Tozeur highway. Although Lucas did not shoot the Tatooine scenes in Return of the Jedi in Tunisia, he later returned to the country to film footage for the prequel film, The Phantom Menace, in 1997. It was so cool to walk around and see the sets. Being COVID, we were the only ones there, so it very much felt like another planet. Get out here and see the sets before the sand dunes take over the sets.
Be my
Hey, what's up everybody? We are on the bus going back to Tunis from Tozeur. It's gonna take us like 6 hours. The bus is full, you can see. Let's the adventure began.